Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Five9 broadcast booth. We are here live at CCW, or Customer Contact Week in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am Erin Wilson with Five9, and I am joined by Kevin Sheehan, the Chief Client Advocate, and Frank Wassenbergh, CX Technology Practice Leader at Cloudlinx. Thanks, guys, so much for being here.
Thank you, Erin. It's great being here.
Very excited about
Five9.
Thank you.
So Cloudlinx is a contact center consulting firm that helps clients avoid the costliest mistakes of migrating to the cloud. Kevin, can you give us an example?
We were recently engaged by a very big public sector union in New York City who never had to have a contact center before and had to spin one up in 6 months.
Wow. That's some pressure.
So zero experience in the CX space. Mm-hmm. Not only were they looking for technology guidance, but they were looking for general guidance on how to stage a call center.
Wow.
We were able to walk them through in 6 months how to spin up a completely enabled cloud environment for their roughly 300 agents.
Interesting. So, Frank, you talk about the buy and hope fallacy, right, and how to avoid that. Does this play into this situation?
It does. It does actually, because when you really consider what you're trying to do in the contact center space is that most people really don't have the experience they need to make this transition, to make this purchase.
Okay.
So they go with what maybe an industry report will tell them, they'll go with what maybe their peers will tell them, but it's not really enough for them. It's not really geared towards them. So they buy it really not understanding what they needed or what they really wanted. So we put a lot of effort into making sure that they don't have to design it on the back end. We put a lot of effort into the front end so they don't have to hope that it goes well.
That's important, because I think a lot of people purchase technology and then end up underutilizing their purchase and then blame the lack of an ROI on the fact that they didn't actually turn it on all the way.
They don't really know what each
Absolutely.
Department wants. Right?
Yeah.
It's the scariest thing is what the agents want, what the people want, and what is it really going to do for you, understanding that power.
So when you start thinking about agent enablement, right, is that where you guys focus your consulting practice?
The heart of our evangelism with clients is on agent enablement.
Okay.
And so often we're working with clients who've been operating off legacy premises-based infrastructure.
Yeah.
We have to convince them to go to an operating expense model.
Okay.
Agent enablement is really the only way you can show someone in the C-suite that your investment on an ongoing basis is going to make your agents of revenue generation and defining an ROI so they can see that coming back.
Are there certain metrics in particular that you encourage the C-suite to be looking at?
Yeah, you know what? An often overlooked one is agent retention.
Okay.
How the turnover rate is dropping because agents are experiencing success and job satisfaction, which translates to customer satisfaction.
Yeah, Five9 partnered with Metergy on a study that showed a tight correlation between agent retention rates and customer satisfaction rates. Are you guys seeing the same thing?
Yes, it's
100%.
probably one of the most underlooked metrics you can look at.
Interesting. So are there other metrics that tie together like that are kind of influencers?
Well, each element of the success of the contact center has to be pushed forward to driving the mission statement forward, right? Mm-hmm. So agent retention is one of those. How well the quality management scores are going up. These are all kind of, it's like a basic answer in this. What we really try to look at is how the team is using it, how the scores are going, how well the team is generating revenue, and where the ROI is coming from. There's probably a dozen metrics that you really want to look at for that people kind of often overlook. One of the presentations that we're doing this week is really about selling those to the C-suite, to making sure they understand that.
Interesting, because I think there's a lot of line of business metrics, and whenever we talk about the contact center, it's always, what's my handle time and what's my occupancy rate and how are you doing that, but.
Right.
Yeah, you look at those stats and you kind of say, right, that's what people want to see. That's what everyone kind of looks at because they're big ones, right? I want my average handle time to go down. Okay, great.
Yeah.
But
how far down?
Yeah, how far down? But are they using the knowledge management system well? Is the knowledge management system being presented to the agents in a cohesive fashion? Are the agents able to get the call through because they're good or because the technology you're doing is empowering the agents to do their job better? Is the technology cumbersome? Is the technology really working for that agent in a way that's presented in a cohesive fashion? That's it's not a stat, but it drives the enablement of that agent.
And if I could just dovetail, one of the things that we do very well for clients is helping them map out those ROI metrics before the project starts.
Okay.
Not let's jump out of the airplane and hope we have a good landing.
Yeah.
But you should be able to define all those ROIs before you put pen to paper.
Oh, absolutely, because otherwise, how are you going to get your baseline? Right? I always feel bad sometimes we'll even have our customers where halfway through the implementation, we're like, oh, by the way, and they're like, it's already better. And we're like, how much better?
How much better, yeah.
Tell us, please. So if the agent experience is a leading indicator of the customer experience, which is kind of what I'm hearing, what do you imagine those future customer experiences to look like?
The future customer experience, anyone who's reaching out to a contact center should be able to get the answers that they're looking for through the agent in advance of asking them. Mm-hmm. In this day and age, in June of 2022, from a technology standpoint, there's no excuse for an agent not to be fully enabled and have the answer to that question before it is asked. That's really where we see the future of the CX experience being.
Having the answer before the question's even asked sounds like AI. Is that where we're going with this conversation?
AI is a very big. AI is an important part of it, but AI working in conjunction with a live person.
Yep.
AI helps get them the answer to the point, but you still need a live person to deliver empathy.
Yes.
Which we have not seen AI come close to.
Not quite. You don't find the coffee bot that we have in the booth to be empathetic?
It's tempting,
is that what you're telling me?
Not 100%. No,
okay.
I haven't. I'll still take a bartender over a coffee machine.
You can order beer. It's a little trick I put in there. You didn't know
it's an interesting analogy. I mean, like, bartenders have not been replaced. And if you think about it, there's no reason why someone shouldn't be able to go into a bar and just get an automatic drink.
100%.
They still need that human experience.
Yep.
So you can make bars work more efficiently, but you're never going to replace that bartender.
Unless you go to Japan in the airport, because they have the machine that tips the glass, pours the beer, and gives it back to you.
Still not telling that guy your sob story, though.
Aaron, play the Japan card.
Okay, I'm sorry. There are places where robots are winning. That's what I'm saying. So, circle this back. You guys seem like you have a great amount of experience, consulting with clients. Is there a particular type of client or vertical that...
No, we actually, it's a great question. We actually try not to focus on any particular vertical. What we have found is that experiences with one type of business will translate into another type of business in ways that they didn't imagine.
That's true.
So we've worked with engineering firms, we work with distribution firms, we work with firms all across the country, actually and internationally as well, that are across verticals because it helps them look at things a little differently.
Yep.
Whether it's a process map, whether it's an answer to a type of question, whether it's a way you're going to handle a call or interact with an agent and a subject matter expert. There are ways and things that we try to pull in from those other experiences that if we were just verticalized, we may get pigeonholed into just kind of one myopic view.
And I think it's a great reason to use a consultant anyway, right? People get so close to their own business that they don't realize that they might be doing things a little oddly.
Yeah, sure.
I think when you look at this, right, there's an element to it where you don't know what you're in while you're in it, right? You never know what you're in. The good old days. You never knew you were in the good old days when you're in the good old days, right? But things are challenging to look at, and when we come in, we try to give them a different take on things. We try to give them a different aspect to the technology, and I think there's an element to that where just having a fresh set of eyes is important because this is, for a lot of people, the most expensive, a lot of contact center agents and the managers doing it, this is going to be the most expensive project that they get involved in. And maybe it's the first time they're doing it.
Yeah, a lot of these deals are $1 million deals, and that's a big P&L for some contact center managers to write.
Absolutely. I will add to that, we have a very special place in our heart for contact centers in the SMB space.
Yes.
Smaller contact centers. Often, you've got a single person making the biggest technology purchasing decision of their career, and it can be a career-defining decision that one person is making.
Yep.
And we really love helping those people make the right call and making them look good.
Yep.
If you're dealing with a 10,000 agent contact center, they can afford to run 2 or 3 different proof of concepts and pick the right one. If you're trying to move 25 agents, you're jumping out of that airplane, and we really love working with smaller contact centers.
That's great. So I know you guys actually work with multiple vendors too.
We do.
Right?
We do.
So, and thank you for being Five9 friendly.
Very easy.
But what's your philosophy? How do you match a vendor to a customer?
Awesome question.
So the interesting thing about that is we have two types of clients. We have the clients that come to us and say, we're going to look at a magic quadrant, and they're going to tell us the ones. That's the only people we want to talk to.
Yep.
And we have the other ones that say, I look at that magic quadrant, and what I see is comparisons between each technology.
Yeah.
And it's not really mapped to us. So what we try to do is we go through an exhaustive needs assessment, an exhaustive current state analysis, and for a 50 or a 300 person call center, we could have questions that range from 400 to 700 questions about, I mean, just ask your sales guys how exhaustive some of our RFPs are.
I've had to fill them out, yes.
You know? So
I remember those
we
days.
put a lot of effort to map them to the client needs and to the agent needs, because when we do an RFP, what's interesting, there's an interesting stat that we're finding that 70% of the RFPs that we've done where the vendor comes back with the #1 technology solution, they don't win the deal. Because it's the agent experience that matters. It's how well the agent's interacting with that system that drives it. And we put a big effort to that up front, so those agents are considered on the back end, and that's what's driving the selection process of the right vendor.
We could have just simply said the one that the agents pick.
Yeah.
That would have been a kind of a short answer.
Wait, that can be the takeaway. So like when you're shopping for contact center, bring an agent and let them find the one.
The first thing we do with a client engagement is we spend 2 to 3 days sitting with the agents.
Yep.
Just listening to what their day is like, seeing what they're using, getting their feedback in a very sort of agnostic, pretend I'm not here type of way. But then we talk to them. And that's a great baseline for helping say, okay, I have a better idea of who are some strong contenders that would fulfill this. Another good point, the appetite for change within the organization. You can go out and you can buy a Lamborghini.
Yes.
But are you ready to drive? Do you know how to drive stick? Are you prepared to drive 300 miles per hour?
Right.
Perhaps not. That also helps us kind of find the square peg for a square hole.
Yes. It's a very big thing. And having that partnership, right? Having the partnership not just between, us and you, but also between yourselves and the vendor, or I'm sorry, yourselves and the client. I think that relationship is something we can feel, right? We can see that when we talk to clients that have chosen us.
Sure, and I will say this, from working with Five9 these many years, one of the things that we really do love about, there's an organizational culture of not trying to get the customer to buy everything under the sun coming out of the gate.
No,
like there's a mutual understanding that we're holding their hand and walking them into a very strange new world.
Yep.
And it's going to be done in stages. And that's the reason why you guys have won a lot of deals from our client base.
I think it's nice to know that you guys know where the end point is. Because there can be a lot of trust if we all know that we're trying to get out the other end of this tunnel and there's only certain things that we need to purchase and implement and change management to do along the way. Gives you more confidence. It gives the clients more confidence, and that's definitely why you've been, a 2-time partner of the year with Five9. So thank you and congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you made us look good, so thank you.
Yeah, we're trying to. Well, I think you're making us look good, which is the more important thing. But thank you so much for coming to hang out with me, and this has just been amazing.
This was great. I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. We love it. Thanks for having us, Aaron.
Aaron, you've been great.
Thanks.